Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's July the 8th. We're coming off the July 4th holiday weekend, long weekend there, long holiday. So, still a little quiet today. There's a couple ways to look at this. Really, it's mostly a downward bias, but whenever you're swinging above and below the EMA, and your EMA is mostly sideways, you can still trade this both ways. So you can see inside the brown is pretty much the range that prices went in this afternoon. Actually, we I would say you could figure out this range by lunchtime. At least you knew there was some strong support down here by lunchtime, 11 o'clock. Um, and then, of course, the resistance tended to be right along here. So, but for the most part, we were only interested in trading this through 2 o'clock, which if you move that to the far right, you can see it's mostly all downhill. But we are still swinging back and forth. So you can trade this both ways. You'll notice there's not many long trades. The overall bias is down. So there's not going to be many long trades regardless. Uh, if there's a good setup, you might take a long trade, but I just didn't see any I like today. I think you were better off playing the trend down. So anyway, it's not going to take long today. Hopefully things will start to pick back up again, but it's a little quiet right now. So anyway, um, you can see we had a two-tiered channel working down. It's a little spike and channel down. Again, we're swinging. This is relatively flat. It's not a real steep downtrend. It's not a real healthy downtrend. So this could reverse at any time. There was a gap up here on the daily chart, way up here at 29.90 and a half, but we never got there. So, but let's talk about the trades. There's only a handful today. It won't take long, and we'll wrap this day up. Anyway, when I came in, the 7 o'clock hour was right in here somewhere on this bounce coming up through here. Of course, I drew my trend line off that, and then you came back right here. Actually, I got this in the wrong place. That should be right there. There's your failed second entry long. Um, and actually your second entry long. Oh, actually, no, I don't have it in the right place. I had it here. This is a second entry short. Notice the low first entry, and then there's actually a second entry right there. But what I didn't really like going short right there on that second entry because there the signal bar is too neutral. Let me back out a little bit. The signal bar is too neutral. So what I liked about it was when it tried to go higher again, it didn't actually break higher, but this is good enough to consider this a failed second entry long. And again, it's off that trend line, and you got a little small bar that's mostly bearish. So I like going short right there on that move down. It's off that key entry point, and you've tried to go higher once, twice, now three times. Even though it didn't break above, it still looks like a failed second entry long. It's close enough. The only key is you want enough room to get out before these lows here. If you got that, take it. Of course, we run down, and then you get a first entry and a second entry, and you get a little double top, and it comes off the trend line again. However, you've been away from the EMA a while. It is a double test of this breakout area too. Notice how we pushed through this low here, the overnight low, and we came back and we tested it once, we tested it twice, and you could even look at this as a double test of that little correction right there too. So we tested it once, twice. I don't have my line on there, but there's resistance across there, as you can see right there. And that's a nice bearish bar. There's not a lot of room to the lows. It's not back to the EMA. We do pretty much have two legs down now, this being leg one, this being leg two. So for that reason, you probably would want to be careful trading that. I would measure it that way first, but this is really today's move, so I would really use this as your first target. Even then, we don't quite get it. Um, we never get that really all day long. So, but that would have given you a target. But of course, when we bounced across here, by the time it bounced off that line again, you would know. I mean, you should have drawn this off this top and drug it down here. You wouldn't have known exactly where it was going to be yet, but you would have known should be bouncing in this area. So, again, I'm not crazy. So anyway, I'd probably skip that one. And we run on down. We finally get a break and a new low, and then you get a first entry short. Actually, let me back up here. You try to go short once. Again, it doesn't break below, then try to go short twice. So it looks a little bit like a failed second entry short. You do get a confirmation of the trend line right here. There is a second entry long here too. Notice that high. First entry, second entry. Technically, that's not a new high because, but it did try to go higher here and then lower and higher again. So you might look at that as a new high. Really, it looks like a failed second entry short. It is a second entry long regardless. Well, actually, I take that back. It looks like a second entry long because you made that high, first entry, second entry. But it's a third touch of the key entry point. We should be expecting prices to go back up to the other side of the possible channel here. So you may take that one. It's a little risky. Turns out to be a great trade, and if you don't get in there, you just miss that move. It's a nice move. And that's why sometimes I like these trade. I mean, look, there's only 2 ticks in that bar. That's a very low risk. Plus, you got 2 bar matching low there. You've got a possible trend line that's bouncing off of. There's just a lot of reasons to say, hey, this is very low risk. Can I risk 3 ticks to try to ride this to the other side? And sure enough, that's where it goes. And it never backs up. You never took any heat on this trade. It just takes off. That was a great move. It's too bad we didn't get a good signal bar up here when it confirmed that trend line. Um, you might have used this as a signal bar if it broke lower, drop a limit order back, and it would have filled you. But I just think it's risky. I think you're better off to wait on a lower high. And of course, you don't get that till here. And notice you made a low, first entry, and this actually went higher and turns and goes out the other side. That's a second entry short when it breaks lower. I like having my sell stop right here because when it broke higher and turned, you got people trapped, and you can see how quickly it drops on down. And then it just bounces back up again. There's a higher low here, but you're going long right into all that resistance right there, basically a double top. You really probably couldn't have got an order filled right there anyway because it just gapped over and went straight on up. And then by the time you got anything else going, you're just kind of going sideways, and it drops back down. It does come back down and test these lows again, but I don't think you want to be really going long with everything back below that EMA and this being a downtrend, and the fact we just came off the top and we hadn't made the bottom yet. Of course, we're getting some support off that midline, but you know that the trend is down, the bias is down. So when it tries to go higher again right there, and again you got you make basically a double top right there. It's only a first entry, but you got that high and you're coming down. You do break higher right there, but that's still all really one move. So first entry, second entry, it's a double. There's like 3 matching highs. It's a little failed break higher, big bearish bar. So if it breaks below there, we're probably going lower. So I like that one. You actually come back to the EMA here. You don't quite get back to the trend line. It does go higher first and turn down, but with that being the low of the day, I just don't think you want to risk going short there. I think it would have worked, been just enough ticks. It does come back, but not a great. This is really your signal bar, and you could say, okay, this has got matching highs, so you could use this as a signal bar, but it's not a great bar. It does confirm the trend line. You can look at this as a failed second entry long because you got a new high there. So for that reason, you probably could argue for that to at least be green. I didn't like it, but looking back at it and thinking about it a little bit, the failed second entry long with enough room to get out now, you may take that one. I'd probably skip it, to be honest with you. And we're just really, and then we're coming back up. Now this one's interesting. Notice how we made that high. You tested it once, you tested it twice, but then you just get an inside bar. But then you shoot up and it fails and gives you this big reversal type bar. Well, that's where you want to go short. And this one takes on off. You would have scalped out easily. You didn't get a runner on this. It does come back and give you a failure here, but now you got to go short right into all that support. That turns out to be where the market closed. I don't know what that line is. What is that line? Oh, this is today's stuff. We're already in the next day, so I get it. Anyway, you don't want to go short right there, even though there's a failure. A lot of times you get those traps because that gives it enough momentum to push it on through, but there's just no guarantees. If I was going to do anything, I'd rather buy this right here and try to ride it back to the EMA or ride it for the pullback to retest it. And if you had have bought that, you know, you'd got a nice ride back. You could argue for that one to be green, but generally you always want to wait on the higher low. And that doesn't come till here. And it is a second entry. Notice you come here, first entry, second entry. And that's the first break of that little trend channel. So that's one, you know, even though it's just after 2 o'clock, I'd be okay with no more trades than we had today and having to sit here all day. I wouldn't have a problem buying that right there, just into the 2 o'clock hour. And so, like I said, not a lot going on today. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, that's all you need, but you have to sit here a long time to get all 5. You had to actually, from 7 o'clock, you really had to sit here till almost 10 with not really. And of course, a couple of these setups might have been better on your charts. You might have had a big bearish bar right here, and if you did, by all means, go short right there. You got an overshoot. You got a confirmation of this bigger trend line. You've been away from the EMA for a long time. I mean, that's an ideal short if it turns down there and confirms that trend line, which it does. And the only problem is my signal bar is no good. And I waited on the lower high, which doesn't, you don't get one till way over here. Actually, you get one here, but you don't get a setup. But then you get this second entry here, and and you can see it was a nice trade. So just not a lot happening today. Kind of a quiet day, but it doesn't surprise me. We're in the summer doldrums. There's probably still a lot of people out taking some time off for the summer, and doesn't mean we can't have a big day any day now, but overall it's just pretty quiet. So I hope everybody had a great holiday. Hope you had a good trading day today. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today though. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.